To start with, you all found your companion, Alicia, rather beat up. And somehow both on the verge of death and yet not. You also met a rather annoyed Fae of the Unseelie Court, who, for some reason, decided to be both very helpful yet also very dickish by effectively indebting you to her and then leaving, and also erasing the memory of herself from all of you, at least directly. You all do remember you met somebody and that you owe them something. Beyond that, it's a blur. Less of a blur, even. Just not. If I remember correctly, you guys decided to take her to a church for healing, or did you decide to take her to the house?
Church, because we all know we got fucked with.
All right. All right. You head over. You head to the church. Do you head to the church she is a member? That she would be a member of?
Yeah, to her church.
Alrighty. So, as you take her that, as you take her there, it's like you notice a few things. You notice a few weird things, like a few birds landing in, like a few birds that were beforehand chatting away with one another, all of a sudden going quiet when you pass by, and then immediately going back to it the moment you don't. The moment you pass. All of you roll perception.
No, this is gonna be a good night.
Holly, do you need me to roll for you?
What are you doing out there? You're making a lot of
Otherwise, I'm
noise.
just gonna roll on my.
I'll roll for you.
Thanks. I'm getting on roll 20 now.
Aside from the basic, what's the word?
Here you go.
Like, aside from the basic weirdness of like the birds, you don't notice much. It's like, huh, weird, weird day. As you guys just keep moving forward. Eventually, you do get to the church and get yourselves in. Almost immediately, a few menials of the church come by and take Alicia from you, so you take her for healing and also rest. After that, you're left alone. You're left alone.
I don't know where your glasses are.
A few priests come by. Do any of you decide to bring up the fact that you believe yourselves to have been messed with?
I do. Octavius does, very adamantly.
Okay. You're brought. Eventually, you yourselves are brought to another chamber, the one that Alicia is not in. You mostly say that because of the fact that you just don't see them, don't see her. From there, you're eventually reapproached by a man who is a bit younger, probably even younger than you, as he comes in as he enters the room. Um, Hi. You have been stating that you fear you have been manipulated in some way.
Yes.
Would you care to elaborate?
Uh, all I can remember is I stuck my head through a portal, and that led to the Feywild. Pulled it out, remembered I went there, met somebody, and everyone can remember what happened after that.
Ah. Hmm. Well, that certainly does sound
If
like
this
a.
man knows anything about our situation or if he's being dishonest in any way, I rolled a 22 in insight.
Mostly he's just sort of trying to absorb the fact that you guys met a Fae. And he's mostly just like, ah.
So more surprised and shocked that.
Yeah, more surprised.
Finding
It's like, holy
anything.
shit, you guys are alive. Oh, that's interesting. But he does. um. This does sound similar to the effects the Feywild can have on those of other planes of existence. However, your situation sounds a bit interesting. Typically, the way it works is when memory is erased, as it sounds like it has for you, the entire memory is erased. You aren't left with anything, not even an inkling of what happened. And yet, that appears to be the case with you, which leads me to believe that this is not the implication of that effect, but a different spell. Hmm.
So can you help us or what?
Um, hmm. You'll each have to. Well, and he actually he takes out a small book and flips through it. If I remember correctly, this is modify memory and not the latent effect that a Fey creature can bring, which means it would be reversible. You'll each have to pay 100 gold, though. It is for the material components of the cost.
Octavius begrudgingly gives him 100 gold.
And so would I.
Molly, would you?
I'm gonna wait until he finishes with them and then decide if I want to.
He puts a hand up and starts muttering a few words, and then breathes out. And Azrael, you see this slight glow apply itself to Octavius as he shivers. And then you remember everything. You remember the conversation. And you remember the fate. And you remember her. But it's incomplete. Something's tethering it. For some reason, the face is. Every time you try to focus on the face, everything unravels. Like, you can view the rest of the memory. You understand what is said, what is stated, what the intent, what she did. You understand, you remember that just fine. But her face. That you can't seem to remember for the life of you. Azrael, he then turns to you, raises the hand, and does the same. You experience the same effect. Except for you, you can remember her face, but you can't remember what she sounded like. It's a weird thing. Like, you can remember crystal clear what was said, but you can't remember what her voice sounded like, what the words sounded like. Motley, he turns to you. I believe you were affected as well. Would you care for the care to be restored, have the memories restored, or
I turn to Octavius and say, "What do you remember?"
That Faye woman, and I use that in the most filled with venom, is saying we owe her a favor now.
Do you know what the favor is?
She'll get back to us.
You want to explain to her how Faye work there, Mr. Priestman?
I know how Fae work. I'm asking what you remember.
and he turns to you. That I can't help with.
I was asking Octavius.
Yeah. But it's like Octavius has the priest, and then in response to that, it's like that I can't help with.
I remember we are fucked.
Have
I
the
look to the man and I
language.
say, "I think they can give me all the information I need, but thank you."
Understood.
Octavius. Had her voice sounded strange to you?
No, but I, for the life of me, can't remember what her face looks like.
That's weird. I remember her face clearly.
I should clarify. It's not that her voice sounds weird. It's just it didn't sound like anything at all. At least in memory. I will say right now, this is an outside effect. She had what was known as an amulet of befuddlement. Effectively, when trying to recall her in any form of memory, unless you have another person to corroborate some element of it, you are unable to remember one key part of her, that being the face, the voice, her body, or her intent. Luckily, Molly would have been the only one with intent on that situation. But since she isn't having her memory restored, she just doesn't remember it at all, and as such, it won't be a problem.
Has the mark been acting up on the way here or during the spell?
Not that you can tell, no.
Exactly what kind of mark is it?
It's a sylvan letter. Or rather, it's a bunching of sylvan letters that can be spelled different ways. One would spell out fine, one would spell out mine. Though given the way that the symbols slowly glow in a repeated pattern, you can somewhat tell
A mark as property?
it's effectively her saying mine.
Fucking. But
Octavius, for some reason, no, I'm not doing that to you yet.
I'm sorry, what?
Don't worry about it. Regardless, an older priest does come in. He's disciple. Disciple Maxim, it is good to see that you helped them. I presume he did. And he like turns to you and asks, this is a different guy. A bit older, a bit bent over from age. But effectively, he just looks at you and it's like, I presume you are. I presume you all have been helped as best you can.
Yes.
That is good to hear.
How is it?
Alicia, for the most part, fine. We've assessed her wounds, and I've been meaning to ask, did one of you cast Greater Restoration on her?
No, unfortunately, we don't have access to that. Otherwise, we would have done it ourselves as well.
Because somebody did. And it's hard to tell. Her body, when you delivered her, her body was in a state in between life and death. Now, that wasn't a problem for us to heal it, but it was a bit of a tricky situation to figure out where she was beforehand, as alongside that, she had been meticulously cleaned. And I don't know if I can properly convey it, but effectively her body was clean to a point where, well, it's hard to even tell if she had ever been born. If that
Want to
makes
run that
any.
by me again? She's so clean. She doesn't exist.
It upon inspection, all for medical reasons, of course, her body shows no sign of wear, no sign of decay. It is almost as if somebody set her body to a point before birth. Yet at the same time, she's alive. Now, we were wondering if you had somehow found magic that could be capable of that, and if so, could you share it with us? But since you were not the ones that healed her, well, we unfortunately have to rule out you then.
It will probably be the Fae that we met.
Would
Oh,
would we remember that the Fae told us that
We would.
she
You wouldn't.
healed our companion? I know I
um,
wouldn't, but somebody probably would.
yeah, Octavius and Asio, you remember that a big point of contention was that she had been trekking through the sewers for somewhere upwards of 10 days, at least by her account. Or it might not have been 10 days. It was, I think, either 10 days or 10 hours. But effectively, her point was she had been trekking through muddy sewers with absolutely no form of entertainment for fucking forever at this point, and then she had to help some random woman because she gave her sad puppy dog eyes. So, in all likelihood, it was her.
I mean, she was wrapped up in a leaf cocoon.
Isn't
Yeah,
it?
it was more akin. It was more akin to Ivy.
Close enough in the middle of a sewer.
Fair point, but yeah, it's rather interesting. But yeah, so yeah, there's all that stuff. Hmm. Ah, well then, um, that is good to know. We will ensure check for any check for any curses and or harmful effects that have been placed on her. Also, we will request that she stays here for now. We will send her back. We will send her back to your domicile once we are certain she is fully healed.
And what's the ballpark for that?
Given a condition, 2 days, at most 3 days, if any mental damage remains. As such, you're free to go. Unfortunately, you may not visit her at the moment as she is asleep, and we'd prefer to keep her that way.
Right then. Let us know if there's any problems that arise during this time.
You'll be the first to know.
And we're walking,
You guys head home. Do it if you want to do anything on the way back, or. By the way, everybody roll perception again as you're walking back. Ooh. Julie, you don't remember you don't notice anything. As a matter of fact, it's almost possible that you were
Yeah.
forgetting things as you saw them. Oh.
Yeah.
Azrael and Noctis, both of you notice that there's one or two birds in particular. It's hard to tell because they look unnervingly similar to almost every other bird. And from there, you're starting to notice that a lot of them seem to be following you. And from there, it's hard to tell. You don't know what they're doing, but you know they're following you. Beyond that, eh.
Telepathically, I will tell Octavius if he noticed that as well.
The moment you do that, one of them cocks their head to the side and like stares at you a bit before cawing loudly, and every bird in your vicinity just leaves.
Telepathically, in you.
Oh, I know. And they still reacted that way. So take from that what you will. Anyways, you guys continue to head home and eventually make it there. What do you want to do?
What time is it?
Around. It's getting close to the evening.
Octavius is gonna eat and go to sleep because this has been a stressful day.
Is cleric lady staying at our house?
She's in the
Nice.
hospital, effectively.
My character is gonna spend the night in the hospital with her.
Well, it's the church. I said hospital for the sake of convenience.
She's still gonna stay with her if it's an option.
I can't believe I'm gonna be seeing this, but I'm gonna spark with Muñeca.
Hmm. Okay. You find Monica. How do you proceed from there?
I got a favor to ask.
You coming to me for a favor?
Not really rare, is it?
Hmm, true, but it is the first time in a while.
I
What do you
was
need?
I was hoping we could spar a bit.
Sorry, Necro, could you repeat that? You cut out there for me.
I was hoping to spar with you for a minute.
Hmm. This is an interesting ask. You haven't asked that in a while. Very well. Do you need some time to prepare, or would you like to start now?
Let's start now.
Then roll a dex save because she's gonna
Punch you in
immediately
the
go to
face. I
punch you in
was
the
just
face.
about to make that
Yep.
joke.
Oh, I wish you had succeeded it. You like immediately knowing her response, you duck and the fist as you feel the ripples in the air going washing over you. If you had gotten hit by that, you might have had your nose broken.
Just like the good old times.
Well, it's good to know you haven't lost your touch there. Would you care to take this somewhere? Would you care to take this outside so we don't break anything?
Of course.
Very well. Mr. Octavius and Molly, you guys are left alone in the house.
Oh my God. Molly said she was staying with the priest at the church to watch over her. I said I was going to eat and go to
Yeah.
sleep.
I thought you guys were talking with one another. My bad. So, Molly, you stay there, even though the priests like constantly tell you it's like there's really nothing you can do. Just leave it to us. But no, okay, and they give you one of like they hook you up in a room where.
I'm trying to stay in her room and keep an eye on her
Oh
specifically.
yeah, no, they're taking extreme umbrage with that and are actually like forcing you out of the room.
Hold on.
Charm person only works for like an hour.
So yeah, they just keep like
Can
forcing
I-
you out of the building. Or
Can
not even out
I-
of the building, just out
first-
of the room.
Can I get a persuasion check on that?
No, it's not persuading you to get out. It's getting you physically.
No, can
out
I
of the
try
room.
and persuade them to let
Okay.
me stay?
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna try and like sleight of hand cast enhance ability. Let me check what components. So I take a feather from one of my pockets and I'm going to give myself charm, obviously, but I don't know what animal that is. Let me check.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's see.
I have Eagle's Splendor. So I'm just going to say Eagles Guide Me as my verbal component. Just whisper that under my breath. Do you want me to roll a sleight of hand to see if they notice that I'm casting a spell right in front of them?
Yes, roll sleight of. You're not gonna have to
They
roll
are
high.
so mad at you.
No, that's their roll to see if they notice it.
And now
They
I'm
don't know.
going.
They don't
And now
notice
I'm
you
just gonna
casting it.
say. And now I'm just gonna say. You didn't notice the first time she was attacked, and we had to get her from a sewer. So if you don't mind, I would like to stay here with her. And is that gonna get me persuasion? Should I
Okay.
guess?
Yeah, roll persuasion with advantage because it's a charisma check. Yeah.
God
Yeah,
fucking
no.
damn it. Why do they have to get a nat 20?
And it's
Wait
like,
a minute, wait a minute.
and that is all well and good, but
Can I give myself
must-
guidance?
No.
God damn it.
unfortunately not.
You already did yourself
Ah.
like sleight of hand bullshit.
Like one of the nuns takes your hand. It's like we thank you greatly for your commitment to your friend here, but we must ask you to leave the room. We have methods that we would wish to keep secrets among the churchgoers, and honestly,
I ask for a room nearby then. I'm just like,
you can sit
I
outside the
just get a
door. You
room
can sit on the
nearby?
other side of the door if that would make you feel better.
Okay, I just slouched down in front of the door.
It's closed in front of you.
That's fine. I'm just sitting with my back against it.
Sorry, Molly, could you repeat that?
I'm just sitting with my back against it. And do they leave?
Okay. They go back inside the room.
Oh, so they're in there with her.
Yeah, you were inside the room and they were trying to get you out.
Okay. I sit just to the side of the door so that if they open it, I'm not directly in the way. And I'm going to stay up until they leave.
You're staying up all night then because they're not leaving. They don't, at least not out that door.
I will keep an eye to see if I could like hear them using magic or anything to leave.
Roll perception in this case. It's a bit of a weird check, honestly.
My turn for a nat 20.
You don't hear them use magic, but you do hear the click of another door. And you also hear rather loudly that the door you're leaning against is loudly locked.
That's all right. I have tools for that.
Woman!
All right, roll a con save.
I have to roll a constitution save for what?
If you're attempting to pick the lock, yes. This is a church. You think they wouldn't charm? You think they wouldn't ward the hell out of their own base?
Okay. Well, first let me check it for traps. Since I heard it click.
All
You're
right.
in the middle of a hall and effectively in an infirmary ward of a church that has a lot of people in it in the middle of the afternoon.
Okay. I'm still checking for traps. Why is it the afternoon? I thought it was nighttime.
It is night.
It's night when we get to the house.
Well, it's late. It's getting.
Well, I'm
it's
waiting
evening
for
when you get to the house.
nighttime.
And yet it is now night. So effectively, Azrael, I will circle back and get back to your training, but for this, roll a investigation to find traps.
I'm not looking for tracks. I'm looking for traps.
I thought I said traps. My bad. But yeah.
Okay. Not good. I'm not super smart.
Nope. Nobody. Nope.
Okay. Well, then I would try to unlock the door. So that's a con save. Or should I roll the dexterity check to see if I can get the door unlocked?
Hmm. Could you clarify that? I'm not sure I understood it.
So I'm trying to unlock the door. I don't see any traps. Should I roll the constitution save before I figure out if I unlock the door, or after I figure out I unlock
Before.
the door, or don't? Okay,
Yeah,
I'll
sorry,
roll my
before.
con save. $17.
You feel this overwhelming sense of dizziness as you go to put it in, and all of a sudden, and now it's up your nose.
My tools are up my nose.
Like you went to stick the tool in the lock, but then like your vision spun rapidly, and then all of a sudden it was up your nose. You take it out and slowly push into the lock, and while it's like you hear the and while like the spinning does happen, you manage to resist it this time, and luckily you are able to now attempt to pick the lock. Roll for the thieves tools, which I guess would be effectively just sleight of hand.
I'm also gonna give myself guidance.
Okay. Oh, you got a
12.
1. So luckily they put more stock into their traps than they do their locks, as you're able to unlock it. Unfortunately, that
Cool.
doesn't help the problem that there's something blocking the door now.
What's blocking the door?
They heard you
Jesus
fuck with the
Christ. I
lock.
just want to look over this woman so she doesn't die.
No, it's like you try pushing in, and it's just there's nothing. You just can't push.
So the door opens towards the room and not the other way.
Yeah, it opens inwards, and unfortunately, you can't seem to do anything. Cutting to the other side of the door, there's a massive wooden block cross. They really just went very old.
My God. Can I like try and wiggle like I don't know, do I have a dagger?
You're gonna try to whittle a hole through this big block of wood.
Wait, don't you have a?
No, I'm gonna try and lift it up by sticking something in between the door and the door.
You do realize they're still in the room. They see you doing this.
I mean, the lady sees me doing it. The other people left, and for all I know, she's asleep because her injuries were very.
They stayed in the room all night, is what he said.
No, he said they. I heard them exit out of a different door. Right? You did say that.
Brian.
You did say that they. I heard them exit out of a different door, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're not there. Give me a second. I have to figure out what's in an explorer's pack to see if I can wedge something between the door frame. You can go to the other guy.
It comes with a crowbar, doesn't
All right.
it?
As you know, yeah, a crowbar, but again, wood block across the door frame, or just the door proper. Trust me, it's not gonna be easy to get it out.
Don't you have a spell that lets you get through those misty steps?
You need to be able to see where you're going.
Gate.
And last I checked, she can't see through doors.
What about the spell gate?
Hmm?
What about gate?
Do you mean dimension door?
He's being a shit and saying she can cast a 9th level spell.
Thaumaturgy. All right. Are you actually trying to force the door to fly open?
Hold on, I'm reading it.
Because that's one of the effects.
Okay, yeah, so this door's technically not locked because I unlocked it. Can I?
Yeah. So you hear this as the bottom half of the door just goes flying into the room because the block did not crack first. It's a bit awkward, but you could crawl in. Unfortunately, it also wasn't quiet.
Cast silence.
Beyond that, how do you want to proceed? Who joined?
Hello.
Hi.
They just
Cool.
She switched from her account to Anthony's. I guess a different
Oh.
rank.
Well, my phone died, and Anthony's
Gotcha.
logged in on his computer, and I don't want to log him out because we often forget our password. So I'm just going to use his account on his computer. Did my thaumaturgy work?
Yeah, again, you swung open and broke the door while not being very stealthy in the process, unfortunately.
I mean, technically, the door is the one that's not being. I'm just kidding.
You're gonna get banned from this church. You're gonna get excommunicated.
It's fine. They won't be able to find me once I get in the room and close the door.
That can now not be closed because it's broken in half.
What do you mean it's broken in half? I was just trying to lift the thing up.
You use thaumaturgy on the door, which caused it to fly open to the wood block, and thus the lower half of the door is still in place, but the top half is like a barn door now.
Well, shit. I did not want to do that. I cast darkness in the doorway so people can't see into the room.
Just keep digging that hole.
Yep, definitely gonna do that. But yeah, darkness in the doorway. And then I'm gonna try and stealth.
So, you said you went inside?
Yeah, I'm in the room, and there's darkness in the doorway, so nobody can see into the room. And now I'm going to stealth. Shit. I'm just fucked tonight. It's fine. God does not approve of me destroying this
They all run
church.
in, and it's like, what the hell are you doing? It's like the guards run in, it's like, what the hell? But you can see Alicia.
You're
like,
hiding.
She has like a cover over her eyes, and you touch it, it's just a wet cloth. It's just like a warm, wet cloth.
I'm not trying to disturb her. I'm just like trying to sit in her room and look inconspicuous. It's not working,
Yeah,
but
that
it's
one.
what
You're
I'm
hiding
trying to
under the
do.
bed with no blankets.
Okay.
I crawl into bed with her. Sure. Yep. I crawl into
I said
bed.
under the bed, damn it, because there's no blankets.
So the door is giving you such problems. There's this one it's like, all right, it's like 5 minutes later.
Oh no! I forgot I have advantage on stealth check. Oh, thank God.
For what?
There we go. I got an 8.
they as this guy literally just Kool-Aid Man's through the door, destroying it in the process.
There was no door. You said there was no door.
There was half a door.
There was
left.
half a door
Oh.
and still the wood bar,
Oh, okay.
which he has turned to splinters.
Okay. I'm just laying in bed with her.
Oh my god.
God.
Trying to
Who's
look
your dad
casual and look like
again?
I belong there.
Country roads, take me home. West Virginia.
You're gonna walk over.
Just out of curiosity, I know it won't count to my stealth, but just for curiosity,
You want a 7 or a 9?
I would have got 4.
There's nowhere to hide.
I mean, technically, I did cast darkness, so I could have hid in the
They're
darkness.
clerics.
That I
That
cast.
roll was for the
Spell
guy who
magic.
entered after him.
What'd you
That
say?
was for the guy that entered. That was the insight check of the guy who entered after him, and he actually doesn't see you, but the big guy in armor who busted the door does. It's like, so it's like
He
enters
doesn't
in, it's like,
notice
what are
me
we-
just
wait,
laying
there's
in
nobody
bed with
here.
her.
Yeah, there's nobody here, and then he just looks down. It's like,
Fucking Gary.
and it's like, he's gonna attempt to pick you up and take you out of the room and just plop you down on a chair.
I don't fight it. I've had a terrible night.
Yeah, so
I try and
effectively, you're like the
apologize.
wet
and it's like,
cat.
I'm sorry.
You're effectively just like a wet kitten he picks up by the scruff of the neck and just carries you out the door.
Oh, like
Alicia-
a cat?
Yeah, basically.
I just look at him. I'm like, apparently, my God does not agree with these actions either. I'm sorry.
Evidently. And he puts you down in a chair and and it's also the moment you get picked up, the second guy who enters like, oh my god! Intruder! Oh wait, it's just you. Because remember, he hadn't seen her. Somehow.
That's great.
So yeah.
Somebody else's turn, please. Before I mess things
So
up.
We're
more.
gonna end the day on that.
Asriel, we're gonna rewind time a bit and end up helping you out and end up going through training. Well, sparring mostly. You already have training. And from there, what do you want to do? What do you want to focus on, I should say?
I just wanted to try out my the rifle spear without
Right.
actually shooting.
You mostly work on spear technique and such. From there, it's actually fairly interesting. It's actually fairly easy. Is you just again, I tried explaining something really cool, but it's effectively you just work on basic spear techniques. And mark down that for tomorrow, for the entirety of tomorrow, you'll have advantage on any dex checks or dex-based weapon attacks. As you go to bed sore, bruised, and battered, and fairly certain Munieka might have broken a. So, do you want to do anything before you go to bed? Because you're still able to get some time, but you are very sore.
Yeah, work on the armor set one more time.
Sorry, could you repeat? You were a bit muffled there for me. My bad.
I was gonna work
as-
on. I was gonna work on the armor set again.
All right, roll an intelligence because you're still setting it up. You get a lot more of it done, Mostly, though, it's still just the blueprints. But you do now have a set materials list and everything else you need, but it does take up the rest of the day. I should note, you only got a basic meal in. As a matter of fact, you could barely even be close. Really, all you did was get some food, get some like dried. You basically just ate a bunch of energy bars. That is the effect of what you were able to do in terms of food. It doesn't actually hurt you, but at the same time, you feel very hungry when you go to bed. Oh, well, yeah. Okay, I forgot about that part. But you mostly eat food out of habit, and also because it's shoved in your face by Munieka on occasion. Seriously, she gets angry if you don't eat for a few days.
I have to appease the almighty automatron.
Automaton, yeah. Just shove, 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 shove.
Oh god, not the fruit pipe again?
Oh, it's not fruit prize.
Fruit pipe.
Thankfully,
Or was it
those
the
were messy. Though typically her preferred weapon is the fruit pie as punishment for you not eating. But regardless, you eventually do go to bed. And Molly, you also eat a small meal that one of them brings to you as they're as they're mending the door. And you eat it, and do you fall asleep in the chair or do you fall asleep on the floor? It really doesn't matter. You're not going to get a negative effect because of it, but it's just good to know.
I'm staying up all night, remember?
All right, mark a level of exhaustion.
Where do I mark that?
It's a setting you can put on your character sheet. It's in the gear if you want to keep track of it that way.
Thank you.
So, morning comes. Molly, you like are slowly dozing off as like as you wake up. Huh? Morning, and like there's a little meal set in front of you. It's porridge. Though someone wrote out in cinnamon a middle finger.
They
And
wrote out the
on-
word middle finger or the shape of a middle finger?
The word for some reason. And then on the napkin, and then like on the tray, there's like a little napkin, and it says "for the door." So, do with that what you will.
We are in the process of renovating one of our habitats into a bayou swamp full of alligators. You ready to go?
Turning to Octavius and Azrael, both of you wake up, and it's fairly good. You wake up, it's a nice morning, the birds are chirping. Well, except for you, Octavius, you just have a raven staring at you.
In the room I'm sleeping in?
Outside the window. They're on a branch. And they just look at you for a while before moving. Beyond that, it's fairly odd. But it's also fairly good. So, you guys have breakfast. It's a nice spread. Omelets, fried eggs, Heck, some of them even make sandwiches for you. It's nice. And from there, you guys have the day to yourselves. Alicia shouldn't be back, at least until tomorrow or the day after. He wasn't actually specific as to whether the day counted as a day.
I'm still at the church until until a cleric lady tells me what her plans are.
Current cleric lady is out cold, so you're gonna be there a while.
I'm gonna move my chair to inside of her room if there's no protest.
There is immediate
At
protest.
this point, roll persuasion, which you do not have an advantage on anymore, unless you want to try to pull your.
At this point, my character's like, listen, it's either gonna happen or it's not. My God's not helping me.
Roll persuasion.
Oh, now I do good, huh? I mean, to be fair, I did do good last time. I just rolled really good.
There it is.
They point to the hallway, and it's like, we can leave the door open. That's
I
all
mean,
we're
you
gonna
don't
do.
really have a choice. You don't have a door anymore.
Actually, they do have a door. Somehow they
You got a
replaced
door?
it.
You got a door
Yeah.
that fast?
Yes.
It's been like
Would you be
8
surprised
hours.
if I said that their paladins have a tendency to break them?
Oh my goodness. It's been 8 hours.
And as such, they have a tendency just to keep those things on hand.
They have a
Before-
warehouse full of doors just ready for you to break them.
Before
Oh no, it's a storeroom.
before I leave the room, do they also have the wooden latch on this door?
Yes, they do. They have the wooden bar.
Okay. Okay.
So
My character just looks at the door and is like, why? Why are you such a pain? Why do you make your doors so hard to get through? Especially if people are constantly breaking them that you have so many.
well, typically it's not these doors specifically. It's other doors.
This is really lame. I hope you know that. I'm just trying to look out for her.
And we appreciate that. But at the same time, no. And they shove you out the side, but they leave the door open this time, and now they have a paladin watching you. Specifically, it's the same paladin that pulled you out of the room last night.
Okay. He notices that I look very tired and didn't sleep at all throughout the night.
You really need to sleep.
Probably. But not right now.
No, yes, right now. Trust me.
You're not
Vigils
my
are best.
boss. I don't have one of those
Sleep.
anymore.
Yes, but I know better.
So do I.
The paladin is currently contemplating how hard it would be to knock you out.
I mean, if you want to go toe to toe with a cleric, feel free.
Either that or we're gonna have an encounter where she needs to be rested.
I mean, don't forget that I'm suffering too. I have disadvantage on. Actually, I should have had disadvantage on my persuasion check. Oh well.
Well,
I have
what
division.
the hell.
I have disadvantage on all my ability checks. So
Roll a wisdom save.
what?
He has his methods.
14.
You don't make a
Called it.
save as his eyes glow and he speaks a few words, and you suddenly rise to attention. There's a room down the hall and to the left. Go get a full 8 hours of sleep. And without any real protest, your body turns around and carries you to the room.
Oh, he freaking casts command.
Doesn't command only last until the action is complete or an hour?
Its duration is 1 round, but effectively you might issue a command other than one described here. If you do so, the DM determine effectively the target. You must complete the action on your next turn. As such, it's your next turn, so you are doing it.
Okay.
So go down the hall and take a nap.
You fall into the bed and just pass out.
Can I get a con roll or anything
Nope,
to
that
try
was the
and
wisdom
wake
save.
myself up? Paranoid roll, maybe?
We're gonna cut away from you for a second. to go to another guy.
Sure.
Azrael and Octavius, how do you want to do for the day? Or what do you want to do for the day? You have time.
I forget. Did that guy say that that thing was coming in 2 weeks or 2 days?
The which?
The the bard item I ordered.
I believe they said 2 weeks.
Okay.
You can go and check on it just to see if it's sped up or anything.
I don't see anybody else over here. Brilliant. All right. He
But, yeah.
Sure, I'll spend the morning doing that.
He's been with us for 15 years.
Oh, hello. As you enter the place, you see him behind the desk, mostly attending to bookkeeping. Hi. You were the one who sent the order, correct?
Yes.
Ah, good. So good news. The order was sped up. It should be here in 5 days, I believe. I mean,
Okay.
5 days from now. So the order has been cut down from around a week and 3 days to 5 days, which should be fairly good for you. Unless you had plans? I'm not certain.
Nope. Just
But,
checking in.
well, my door is always open. As he goes back to the bookkeeping, do you want to try and talk with him, or do you just go somewhere else?
I'm just gonna go to like an inn or something and do like a perform, I guess.
All right, roll performance check.
Shouldn't we be looking for a second location?
What do you mean?
I can't take her again to the same place.
Oh, for your second date. It took me a second to understand what you were talking
I
about.
like to imagine that's how the actual in-game conversation went as well.
Since technically we have a lot of free time at the moment.
That is true, you do. If you would like, you can do so. Octavius, you perform for about half the day, earning 28 gold. So,
I guess I'll spend the rest of the day training the dire wolf.
all right. Azrael, I'm assuming you're going to try looking for a secondary location on your own?
Yeah.
Understandable. So roll investigation. Hmm. With the 15, you find a few good locations. Most of them are cafes. One is a shop. The other is a bookstore. You have four to choose from: two cafes, one just specialty shop, and one bookstore. So, your choice there.
What exactly is the specialty shop?
Um, Trinkets, baubles, mostly just like nice accessories. You can't, from a preliminary look around, none of them appear to be enchanted.
For my own personal interest, I'll go to a library to see for anything that catches my attention.
All right. You head to the library and spend most of the day there. It's a fairly nice experience, calming, quiet. You do find one or two books that primarily seem to show off, like, you find a few books on dating advice, and it's all much more analytical stuff, which is much more up your alley.
So basically, it's worthless to whatever Octavius could teach him.
Pretty much. But yeah, so from there, how do you want to go back to the house, or do you want to continue wandering around roaming around the city?
I'll continue roaming around the city.
All right, roll another investigation check. This is mostly just to see if
Get
you
lost.
find anything. Well, get lost or find anything of value.
And I got lost.
You get very lost and only make it back as the very last rays of sunlight are leaving. And then switching over to Octavius, roll, and as you enter the house and start fooling around with the direwolf, you roll animal handling because this is to see how much you have. Hmm. It's not going well. I believe I already said they're responding to the name you've given them,
Yep.
but beyond that, it's like you tell them to sit and they just go bounding all over the place. It seems that they're actively disobeying you out of everything except name. So yeah, that's interesting. That's that's not good.
Okay.
But you do spend a few hours being happy with the direwolf pup because it does like understand a few things to like come and sit next to you. But unfortunately, it's stuff that primarily you can't tell them to do. It mostly just follows instructions, as in like nonverbal. You point somewhere, it'll go there. You point at a thing, it'll bring it. Beyond that, but whenever you point, there's a gamble on whether it'll sit there or pee there. You have a very finite control over what they do.
Steve kind of tracking up. Oh yeah, he reacts immediately. The three larger.
Moving over to, sorry if it didn't make sense. It's just that's the best way I can describe it.
See,
But moving over to Molly,
aren't you full of yourself? Going back to the pool.
how do you you want to?
Well, I'm
You
asleep
feel
in a
yourself-
room,
yeah, You
right?
feel yourself drift off, but eventually roll a con save.
Okay.
You don't wake up.
Yeah.
You eventually drift off and spend a full 8 hours asleep.
Yeah. Nothing I can really do about that.
You eventually wake up. Your level of exhaustion is removed, but it is now
Woohoo.
like late afternoon. How? And you remember, and it's like you stomp out, and you find the paladin still standing by the door. It's still open, and your seat's still there. As a matter of fact, somebody's put like a little cushion on it.
I don't want to hurt this guy, but I do want vengeance because I don't like spells being cast on me. So I'm gonna say that I prepped command since I just got my full rest.
It's at dawn.
After no, it's after a long rest. So
Yeah.
they say at dawn because that's typically how long rests work. You don't take one in the middle of the day.
Yeah. Gonna do that. Before he lays his eyes on me, I should mention. And then
Does that make the save?
fuck you, asshole. You know what? I cast it again. Fuck him.
I'm assuming that doesn't make it.
Ha! I tell him to take a walk for an undetermined amount of time.
All right. He his eye twitches before he just starts clunking off down the hall.
I just
All right.
stand in the hallway where he was standing.
You didn't expect to succeed, and now you don't know what to do.
No, I'm waiting for him to come back.
You gotta wait an hour, but eventually they do come back.
Yeah, and when he
does come
comes
back.
back, I'm gonna say, "How does it feel, a-hole?"
And just points back to your chair.
I sit down.
Alrighty.
Stinking paladin.
So, Azrael and Octavius, you find yourselves at the house again. Do either of you wish to try?
What?
Would you like to try anything, or do you just want to go to eat dinner and go to bed?
I'll continue working on my project.
All right. Azrael, you said you wanted to do something, or you didn't?
Continue working on my project.
All right. Roll another intel. Roll a. At this point, you just have to order materials before you could actually build anything. But you could start laying out like the groundwork of the whole armor set. It would likely take a while to build it, though.
Have plenty of time.
You do need time.
Wait a minute. Brian, I had modified memory. I had freaking Great Restoration cast on me.
Yeah?
What do I remember that fucking night?
Let me see. I need to look up what Greater Restoration.
It nicks modified memory and a bunch of other shit.
True. Unfortunately, if you're referring to the night you can't remember with the woman, that unfortunately is not due to magic. That's due to just good old-fashioned alcohol poisoning.
Fuck! I thought that would work.
It was a good question. I actually had to think on it for a second, but then I remembered back then you were more the drunk bang everything bard instead of the dignified bang everything bard. Let's just say a lot of booze was involved that night, and you're fairly certain you didn't eat anything solid that entire day. Seriously, your bowel movements were not fun for the next few weeks. But beyond that, yeah, unfortunately, there isn't much. Unfortunately, there isn't much to be done about that memory. But it was a good thing to ask. So, do you all go to bed? Or Molly, are you going to bed too? Or
Damn it, man. What am I gonna have to do? Find Wish?
Commune.
Possibly, maybe. You don't know. You're gonna have to find out.
Greater Restoration is literally the spell designed to cure this kind of problem.
Yeah, but also this has been years in the past, and it has no magical implication, just pure alcohol implication.
Then can I spend the day trying to rack my brain around this problem?
Sure. Roll intelligence check.
$20.
You remember vaguely, you think the night happened in the capital. You could actually probably remember the bar. Huh. So yeah, that's You have the name of the bar, the Gilded Cauldron. Oh, it's more than you had before.
Didn't I play at that when I first got here?
You think you did? You'd have to check again.
Alright. Well, it's the best sleep I've gotten ever.
Yeah. I won't deny that. So, do you just want to go to bed, or do you actually want to try and go out and find this place?
I'm gonna try and find this place.
All right, you head out, and it's like one of the maids is like, where are you going? And do you respond to her, or do you just keep going?
I'm gonna find a place where I'm pretty sure I got drunk once.
Um, so we'll be expecting you back for breakfast, or
Expect me back by lunch.
we'll expect you back by dinner then. Okay, have a good time.
And I'm off.
So you eventually move through each and every single place. You have the lovely Lamia, the laughing dragon, the drunken tankard, the cackling goblin, a few other places that are a bit too raunchy of names to be repeated here. And then finally you get to the Gilded Cauldron. And before we head in and have everything there,
We're gonna
handle
cut
everything
back to Holly
there.
and knock this.
Yeah, we're gonna cut back to Holly.
Hello.
So how do you want to proceed?
What are they doing to her that's like helping her heal?
For the most part, they seem to be. And who joined?
Okay.
It's
Your
okay.
mama.
What?
It's okay.
Hello.
Oh, hi, Toki.
My face hurts.
Have you been smiling all day?
Good.
I've been sleeping on my face all day.
Oh.
Do you got the corona?
No, I got a leadership position at Amazon, and they run me around like with chicken with my head cut off. And I left my damn earphones at the job, so if you hear things, I'm sorry.
Alrighty. So, Thargarth, you're also here. You've mostly just been out of it for a few days, but to give you the TLDR, I believe you were here to meet the. I believe you were here to meet the Fey creature, and then immediately have your memory wiped.
Yes, I was here for that.
Yes.
Well,
Though I
So,
don't
Sum of 100
remember
gold.
the last time I played this.
for the most part, you had your memory restored, except you couldn't remember what her body looked like. Like you can remember her face very clearly, but you couldn't remember if she was tall, short, or anything like that.
All I need to remember is that she pissed me off. That's all I need to remember.
Go back to the door right now. Peaches. No.
Yeah. So, all right. How would you have spent the last 2 days?
Yes. How do I spend the last 2 days?
Yeah.
When
Or
did
how
we
would
get
have?
our memories back?
Same day you got her there. Then you had a little bit of a day to do stuff, and then from there, moving on. And then from there, you just had the whole day to yourself. Because she may or may not be back. Alicia is currently being healed at the church that you went to.
I believe somebody just got cut off.
Sorry. You had there? From there, you don't know how much you actually have. effectively, how did you spend the day? You don't have much to do. Nobody's telling you what to do, so you can do whatever you want.
Except go back to the school. They don't need you there.
I lost my character sheet, so the thingy, I'm no longer a cleric.
What the? What is going on with you in Roll20 and losing characters?
No, I lost the homebrew for that particular class. I don't know where it went to, so I just went with a natural class instead of taking 5 hours to look it up the last time we played.
What class were you playing?
I was playing a paladin of death, but it
Death
was
Paladin's a thing?
Homebrewed.
hmm and it was a special, like, instead of going with everybody worships death and all that bullshit, it was like death was a necessity and you should celebrate life, but undeath shouldn't be tolerated and that type of thing. Mm, Dargarth is still gonna drink.
All right. You go to a tavern, start drinking.
What level are we again?
5th.
The 5th? Okay. Don't get me wrong, I do miss all the hit points and the high ass armor class, but hey, what can you do?
Alrighty. So, Holly, how do you want? Do you want to try to stay up again, or do you just want to? You really just want to do something else, like actually go to bed. Holly.
Hello.
Yeah. Do you want to? So you're at the church again. Do you want to go to bed, or do you want to stay up again?
I was trying to see what types of things they were doing to I forget her name, to
Alicia.
try and Alicia, to heal her or restore her to whatever.
For the most part, they're using they're using medicine for the most part, like they're making sure she's healthy, not dehydrated or anything, because they are like feeding her and making sure she's well hydrated.
Okay, so just taking care of her like a normal human being.
Basically.
Okay. And does she ever come to consciousness?
Not that you can tell.
Okay. I'm gonna stay there again for the night and not go to sleep.
All right. You take another level of you take a level of exhaustion again. You're at 1 level.
Yep.
So, Octavius, you eventually come to the Golden Cauldron. As you walk in, you vaguely remember playing here a while back. Very recently. Like within the past few months. Beyond that, it's all a bit of a blur. So,
I'm gonna go talk to the barkeeper.
It's a bit of an older man, bit pudgy. He's just sort of absent-mindedly flipping through a book. Looks at, hi. It should be noted that the entire the entire place is basically empty. There's a few other like waiters and waitresses sort of like flitting about, cleaning off the tables, aligning the chairs. But beyond that, it appears that most of the regular patrons have cleared out because it is like 10 at night. And while typically that would mean a lot of people would still be at the bar, it's a bit weird in the capital.
Hi there.
Hey, what you need? What you here for?
Well, I believe I not only played at this establishment within the last few months, but also met someone here, and I cannot remember to save my life.
Might not be much help here, buddy. If you're asking for names, I don't remember it. Faces somewhat well. That depends on how long ago it was.
The night was like 4 months ago, right?
4 or 5, it's a bit hard to tell. You think it's actually cresting to about 5 at this point.
About 5 months ago.
What's your name?
I'm Octavius.
Octavius. I do remember the name. It's... And he, like, scratches his chin. Like, well, not chin. He scratches his cheek. Yeah, I do remember it. Vaguely.
I'm waiting either for the subtle hint to pay him money or the, oh shit, it's you, you motherfucker.
And he, like, snapped his fingers, trying to remember. Where was it? Where was it? Oh, yeah. You were that weird guy that kept flirting with the waitresses.
Yep, that sounds like something I would do.
Typically, most of them can't do that after taking down that many drinks, let alone play. If I remember right, you got picked up by some chick late at night after your performances were done. Was it during? That was a weird night. A lot of people were ordering rounds on the house, so I really couldn't tell.
If my notes are accurate, she was like elvish in nature.
Yeah. It was high elf, I think. I don't know. It was weird, hard to tell. Something about her was just not very you know? But
Wait, so I got picked up here and ended up in an inn somewhere far away from here.
Probably. I mean, again, you look pretty sloshed. I wouldn't be surprised if you don't remember much of it. And considering she bought 4 bottles of our best stuff before leaving, she might have kept you boozed up. So who knows?
Great. What was the booze she got?
It was pretty. It was elven wine. We keep it on hand for hire. We're the more high society. And it's like he says it with a sort of air of condescension. High society clients that walk in, but we rarely get a chance to use it because nobody wants to pony up the gold for it. All the nobles that come in expect it to be on the house, and all the regular folk that would actually pay, that actually don't aren't assholes like that, would just not pay. They can't really,
Do you
considering it's
sell it
100
by
gold a
glass or
bottle.
bottle?
Bottle stuff's too expensive to sell by glass. It's last I checked. Hey Jim, and like this friend, one guy who's kind of built a bit bigger than both of you. Both of you like turns around. Yeah, how much is the elven wine? I know you keep swiping the stuff. You keep threatening that since it's 100 gold a bottle, you'd be taking out of my paycheck every time I took sips. So yeah, 100 gold a bottle.
Jeez.
Considering the stuff I'm fairly sure is enchanted, the price seems a bit reasonable.
Enchanted.
She took 4 of them.
Enchanted with what?
I don't know. The guy I buy it from never says, but he always says it's magic as hit. He's got some magic shit I've never seen, so.
I slap down 100 gold. I'd like a bottle. Did you hear me?
There isn't. Sir, I did not hear you. What did you say?
I was going to buy a bottle.
Oh, I did not hear that. That'll be 100 gold.
I give it to him.
Which one do you want? Courage, prosperity, fear, or fertility? And don't ask about the last one. That's just the name. I don't know why. Funny enough, that was the only bottle she bought.
She bought fertility.
4 of them. The entire stock at the time. She's the reason I start carrying 8 of each now. Somebody just has to go and be fancy. But he gets up on a stool, takes it down, steps down, and puts the bottle on the table. All right, well, enjoy.
I'm gonna cast Identify on this bottle of fertility.
It is effectively a form of enhanceability, though it's specifically keyed to Constitution.
Haha.
Now, you have known some cases, specifically the fact that one of your troop had a very heated conversation about this with one of the people you were traveling with once, who was actually a rather powerful wizard. Effectively, they got into an argument about how alcohol sometimes dilutes the spells, and then your traveling mate said, "Yeah, but that's not the point." Yada yada yada. So it doesn't last as long. Downing drinking the bottle in moderation would extend the effects, but downing the entire bottle would only give you about half of it.
And she freaking bought 4 of these.
Yes.
Jesus Christ.
So yeah. Oh. One other thing. And he takes out like a napkin, gets like a little piece of charcoal and like starts scribbling something. She had this tattooed on her wrist. And let me see what it is again.
This is the same as on his cheek.
Can you? I'm assuming you can read Elvish.
I can read Sylvan.
So you can try to work it out, but it'll be messy. Roll an intelligence check, since it wouldn't be a disadvantage, but you still have to make a check to see if you can figure.
I'm translating freaking Italian to Latin, effectively.
Basically. Well, no, actually, you're doing the inverse.
I'm
You're taking the older language. Yeah, you're taking the older language and translating it into the younger.
But it's in Elvish, but I only know Sylvan, so I have to counter. Yeah, my brain.
You're effectively working backwards and forwards at the same time. You know the roots, but you don't know like the new connotation. The basic, you can only get like the very rudimentary broken Elven translation, which is like family trust something bad. One of the words is just, you're not even certain if the latter part is even actually what it means, or if it's just your brain trying to work it out when you have no idea how to do it.
Do you mind if I keep this?
Sure.
Thanks. Have a good night. And I take the bottle and the napkin away.
You too, my dude.
But did it look like the tattoo that was on my ass?
No, not at all. This is like a full-on saying. It's effectively like the difference between getting one Chinese symbol tattooed on your ass and an entire like script.
Gotcha.
One other thing. I got a vibe off of her. Aside from the whole unremarkable one. Well, obviously she's remarkable to you. Something about her just screamed that she wasn't somebody to mess with. So tread with care there, my dude.
I always do.
Bullshit.
I'd be inclined to say otherwise, given the fact that you left here so drunk she was literally carrying you half the way there. Though, given the fact that you were fairly happy to actually be with her, I didn't think you were being taken against your will or anything. Unless you were, in which case, I'm sorry.
Wait. Did it look... I know this is hard, but did it look like I recognized her?
Recognized her like you recognized her as as a beautiful woman, or recognized her as in you met her
then.
before? Hard to tell. From what I remember, though, you were pretty surprised to meet her. And also pretty surprised that she was so forward. And the sounds of it, I don't think you two had met, but again, you were drunk as hell. So we all forget things when we do that.
Alright, thanks.
Happy to help as much as I can.
I'm gonna go back to the house.
All right, you head back to the house. It is now around almost midday. Mark a level of exhaustion, by the way, since you did not get a full rest.
Noctis, do you know Elvish?
Yes, I do.
What does this mean? And I show him the note.
I read it.
The family will bring prosperity. To abandon it brings ruination.
Do I recognize this?
It's a fairly common phrase. Not one that's typical. Not one that's particularly individualistic or anything. If anything, it's remarkable in how bland it is. Hell, a lot of elven noble houses often repeat this phrase at banquets or such.
And let him know what it says. I let him. I relay the information to him.
Okay.
Given what I know, would this confirm my suspicions that she is tied to the crime family that runs the city?
Really, it would just be a hunch. You don't have anything concrete to go on. But you can certainly believe that.
Want to share a drink?
Are you breaking out the fertility bottle?
Yes, and I'm going to immediately say, not what you think. Apparently, I helped drink 4 of these in a night. Or over the course of 2 days.
Also, Azrael, when you look at the bottle, you note that it's not called fertility, it's called vigor.
Ha!
But if you want to correct him on that, that's up to you.
Explains a lot.
I chuckle a bit. It means vigor, not fertility.
Thurgarth, are you going to actually try to stumble home or just stay there at the bar and pass out there?
Stay there.
Alrighty?
Probably because they already have 15 alligators that are going to be in the pool. Oh, okay.
Does drinking this wine, like, jog any memories?
You remember riding in a carriage when drinking it. You, like, swish it around. Nope. Nothing major. No, that's about it. You remember riding in a carriage for a while and going through 2 bottles over a few days? It's weird. You also remember that night in the bar wasn't the night. Or rather, it was less of a night and more almost a week and a half.
So I went freaking cross country with this woman on a drunken bender and only remember the last inn was only for like 2.5 days.
Basically. You also remember that she had left you the 4 bottles, but you had left them in the room because you didn't think anything of it. Because again, you couldn't speak Elven, so what were they of use to you?
Custom fill the things you use most with the exact amount of water you need. It's the smart faucet technology that does more, so you can.
How the hell did I lose a week?
Technology. See what you can do.
How the hell you get drunk enough to stay drunk for a week without dying?
Magic and really good wine. And also, who says you were drunk the entire... Well, you were drunk the entire time. Yeah, you were drunk the entire time. But who's to say you were at a consistent level of drunkenness? You could have taken breaks, actually eaten something. Or maybe you didn't. You don't know. That's sort of a haze.
He just slowly drinks the wine with lunch, and like, I'm pretty sure that's.
Both of you feel invigorated from drinking it. And actually, Octavius, roll a d20.
Oh God, you better not. Better not do it.
This better not... I'm right with Necro. This better not be what I think it is.
And
And you shall see.
I am not drinking, but I am keeping an eye on them.
10.
All right,
It's
you rolled
free.
evens.
We have stars. Never free.
Your level of exhaustion is
Did we, like,
raised.
just recently get stars or something?
Okay,
As
that's a lot
effectively-
stronger.
Free, but then it turned into subscription.
Yeah, as
but maybe
effective.
they're letting
Well,
you have it for
it's
free.
weird.
It's free with subscription, but we're subscribed to stars.
You
Right now we
drink,
are. I think they
and
put
it's
it
like,
down to free though. Have you ever seen this?
As you actually like scream for a second because it
I read the book in
hurts,
6th grade.
then fades.
Yeah, I did.
Ugh.
I cannot guarantee that I understood it. How did you get through the language?
Huh.
Mischance and
Holly, DC.
I remember
Whoops.
like
Hey, Ollie.
to understand like I was able to like picture the images and like
It's
what
like,
the characters were saying.
wow, that
But I
is
definitely did not.
that is strong.
understand the thoughts behind it.
Well,
'Cause reading it again,
that
I
explains
completely
how
forgot that Darcy like
able to
I
run
did not
around
catch
for a
the
week
first
on this
that
stuff.
Darcy was in love with her by like chapter 4. Oh yeah.
You
she was
probably would have
everything
needed
that
something
you
else to
shouldn't
fuel
have
yourself,
fallen
but
in love with.
possibly.
I know her face was not entirely
I mean,
symmetrical.
technically, you can survive for like a month without food. You just need
And
water.
she was of lower birth.
Or liquids.
And she was, you know. He proposed and insulted.
All you need is the hydration.
And keep away from the maids.
Oh, gee, thanks. You couldn't have
Uh,
done a better job.
Unfortunately, you cannot do that as the maids are like peeking into the corner, peeking around the corner.
I love you.
Hey, I have been
like-
respectful. I have not tried to sleep with any of your maids, except for Moniaka, that one time.
To be fair, it was a slow day.
Well, you're fueled by whatever this is.
Yeah, it gives you a hell of an oomph.
So, Holly, you spent the day, and you're like at that same level of. You're exhausted again.
Oh, okay.
You're at that same level of exhaustion,
It's
but then
eating my
you
lunch.
notice the door open, and Alicia walks out.
Snickers was in the bed. I take my first bite and it was pretty hot. So I was just holding the hot dog. And
From
Snickers
there-
put his face in it. Took that as an invitation. And he started like licking the bread, so he got a little bite of the bread. And then he went for the hot dog.
Alicia
But I guess
exits.
it was too hot because he
You
kind of
just-
flinched. Bite after this. He tried to slide at it because he knew it was hot.
Holly,
He was like, no.
what
Daddy
are you
was
doing here,
preparing-
and
When
why?
Daddy was preparing, like the 2 cutting boards, and he had the ribs cut into 2 sections, and half of them were spicy. So he
So-
jumped up on the counter. First, he checked out the spice ones. He's like, then he went and he licked. You know?
You all right?
So hey, no.
I feel
It's so funny. Because I was
fairly
I was
rested.
recently Peach's meatball thing. He was just having the grandest time. Like he stuck his face in there and he licked one. So I took it out and I broke off a piece for him. And he's like, "Oh, that's still sick at Netherfield." And they're all talking, and it's like the time that Darcy like really realizes that he like can't control the fact that he's in love with her. Like he already understands that he's like has
So-
affection for her, but it's like she's like teasing him,
Holly
and he like
or
can't.
Julie?
Yes.
And
Do
then
you
she-
respond to Alicia?
and
'Cause
we're,
she is
like,
talking to
be
you.
considered extraordinary.
Who's talking to me?
Elizabeth makes a joke
Alicia. She's up and about
that,
and looking at you.
Oh, cool. What'd she say?
Find
Why do you look that tired?
Of the Miss Bingleys.
I shouldn't look that tired. I mean, I did sleep for 8 hours. Unless this is the second day that I stayed.
This
up
is the
all
second day. Yeah, this is the second day, and you are back to one level of exhaustion.
Especially the
I'm gonna look at her and say, I was just concerned for you and didn't want you to get kidnapped in your weekend state again.
Do you want me to fix your pen? And he's like, no, I can fix it
She just
myself.
looks
And so he's fixing
concerned.
it, and she starts telling him things to write in the letter. And
And
he stops and he looks at her and he goes,
keeps moving.
he basically is like,
I'm gonna
All right,
follow her.
I have to fix my pen.
And it's like, and one of the other guys, the cleric, again looks at you, and it's like, "Ugh."
You know, you wouldn't have such an attitude if you just let me got my way this one time.
Just and keeps moving. Sister Alicia, and he nods his head, and she just nods, and then she looks like,
oh yeah,
I don't know his
he's
name.
just as weird as I thought he was. This makes me very happy. 'Cause in
Wait,
the letter, he's like,
you
oh,
don't know
he's a
what?
weird
I
guy.
don't know. It's like the guy who said her name and like bowed his head. She just bowed her head back without saying anything, and then as you two are walking out of the church, she like turns to you, and you realize her face is beat red. I didn't know his name.
It's probably something you should learn. There's probably security questions like that about this place, considering how lock and key they keep every little thing.
I was in the infirmary, correct?
You were in your room the entire time I've been with you, and they've been coming to your room and
Was-
giving you
They're like
medicine.
that era of middle class.
Was that the?
I don't know who was giving you medicine. I wasn't paying attention to them.
Okay. How long was I out?
Anyways, you do realize you need to be more careful, right?
Oh, absolutely. But how long was I out?
I've been here for 2 nights.
I've only been out. I've only been away for 2 days.
Well, unless you want to count the time you spent in the sewers, which only God knows how long that's been.
Total 4. She's been missing for 2 out, 4 days.
Sorry, I'm gonna keep talking. Like part of the book where Jane and Elizabeth finally come back to Longbourn. Like Jane Austen, because they're the only ones that can hold an intelligent conversation.
Where are we going?
She's
Home?
his favorite.
As you guys are walking towards
Jane-
Octavius's house.
Jane is
And I swear to God, if anybody else isn't sleeping,
but she's like,
yeah, not this is house.
allegedly the most beautiful of face.
And I swear to God, if anybody else isn't sleeping,
or just like the others are.
as
So how,
she just keeps moving.
I'm sure they're resting just fine.
At this point, Octavius has convinced Necro that this is a god's tier liquid, and if he drinks it, he can stay up all day and all night without having to worry about anything. Finish all those projects.
I'm still refusing. Damn it.
Azio, or not?
I'm so
Okay, you
excited.
all right?
Yeah.
I'm just looking up for a few things and it's just difficult.
Alrighty. So,
They act like if they added this as a deity, then I wouldn't take it. But they're sadly mistaken.
Thargarth,
That's actually what I'm doing right now.
you wake up and you're fairly certain you fell asleep under the table again. At this point, you have a common procedure and just like put it under your head and put like a, and you just carry a pillow with you that you put under your head.
Yay.
Elizabeth.
Right.
But do you want to head back to the house or?
I guess so.
I feel like it's Mary.
And if Necro's making that a deity, I want that as my deity as well.
Wait, what?
I'm a sorcerer of the divine domain.
Oh no, I'm doing something entirely different.
Sorry, Toki, could you repeat that? You, I think, cut out for me.
I was talking about if we're making Eyes Out Ghoul a deity, that is definitely the deity she worships.
We're not,
Is 25.
but
And Darcy's
interesting to
not
know.
because they grew
So
up
you get back to the house before
and so then you can assume
Alicia
that
and
they're around the same
Molly
age,
do.
maybe a little younger.
And eventually you two get there, and you get there, and you find Octavius kind of just like jumping around because he's really wired at the moment. And Azrael, did you go to sleep?
Yeah, but she's only 11 or 12.
I'm keeping an eye on him.
All right, yeah. So you went to sleep. You actually would have gone to sleep and woken up before this. So yeah, you went to sleep, got up, and now you're keeping an eye on him. And it's like eventually Alicia and Molly get back. It's like,
But
hi,
interesting too is that
so
it's like Jane and Lizzie seem to be the closest.
hello everybody. I'm back.
And then Lydia and Kitty
Are like this.
but then
Jane and Lizzie are like
See you
this.
again.
As soon as we get home, I go to the kitchen and I tell anybody who's awake to come with me, and I just cast create food and water.
she's just like,
Hmm.
oh.
Okay.
Because I'm pretty sure.
There's 45 pounds of potatoes and meat and 30 gallons of water.
Meat.
Which like makes sense.
It's supposed to be enough to sustain 15 humanoids or 5 steeds for 24 hours. So there you go.
Sermons.
Yeah, it also tastes like tofu.
Why does this meat not taste like meat?
Mother. That she starts talking about like the officers or whatever.
I mean, I think that depends on the DM. It doesn't have a description about what it tastes like
It's
in the
purely
description.
sustenance.
It actually tastes surprisingly like pickled herring.
What
It is meat.
I wish no ill will. I won't continue.
The potatoes taste like pickled herring. Wow.
He wants to marry one of them is
Summoned food is weird.
Well, it's about to
Honestly-
taste like pickled herrings with butter and salt because that's what Thargoth is throwing on these potatoes.
Okay.
Which I find interesting is that how could he be illiterate?
Father was illiterate. He went to university.
That's how you go.
He didn't get like the experience with it as a kid that like these girls like they enjoy reading.
You know what's really weird?
What?
Thargoth is a noble, but she eats all this trash.
Although I bet Lizzie reads.
You're a noble goblin?
I am a noble goblin.
Anyways, I'm gonna go eat dinner, so I'll be back.
Hear about
All right.
any of it, and the only
My
reason
character just
they
goes to bed
gets
when she's done
drawn
eating
into the
and wishes everyone a
drama
good.
is A, Mrs. Bennet
Alrighty,
drives
so,
him into it.
Alicia,
And B, he does realize
after
that
the meal,
he has
like,
$5,
so,
and that none of them are going to
does,
inherit.
will
the
anybody
estate.
please
Yeah.
inform me
'Cause
what
he's kinda weird like that.
exactly
He's kinda like,
happened?
and one of the things that's like said in the
We were
Because
hoping you'd
was
tell
when
us.
the girls like got sick of like being at
I
home
got
because
an
their moms were
alert.
like, "We're gonna go
I got a
crazy,"
note
and
from
so,
my
like,
church
Kitty
saying
and one
something.
of the officers was supposed to come back. So Kitty and Lydia were like,
Well,
"We're
first
gonna
I
get
went to the
married."
church to inform them
And
of my
then Jane and
progress,
Elizabeth
and they were happy.
probably thought like,
I
"Oh,
still
he's
have more to
going Mr.
do,
Collins.
but
We're coming with you."
for
And then
now
Mr.
we
Collins
earned
went
a
into the
well-deserved
library with
break.
Mr. Bennet, and Mr. Bennet was like, "Do you wanna
But
go with
for the time
Like,
being,
he goes to his library to get quiet, and Mr. Collins
we might
was
rest
not
easy so that we may
shut
get to the
ever.
next
And he
location.
was like, "Do you want to go with the girls?"
Next
Well,
location.
Go.
Another city. There are problems to solve, and I am drawn to fix them. We can spend a day or two here if you have any business to finish up, but
Look at that,
eventually I
like,
will
saggy
ask you
manor
all to
house.
leave
I mean, it was
and
saggy
accompany
back
me
then.
back to other locations. For now, though,
Cute.
let me see if I can recall the days.
it's
So,
just-
Can we move to
Kind
the
of
world
run
map
down.
so we can have a point of reference?
I don't think
oh, sorry.
Mr. Bennet either has the money or
I thought we were on the world map. My bad.
Now this dance, I think this is like the
If
town
this is your
hall
idea
or
of the
something
world,
else.
you
Anybody's
need some therapy,
Yeah,
sir.
this was like a town ball.
You're on the
That's
map,
Lizzie's
aren't you?
friend.
Yeah.
I was making the joke that you thought that the maze was the world map.
Oh, okay. My bad. Sorry. Covering stuff. So,
Oh.
but that's a different point for a
And
different
you know how
time.
Wickham tried to run away with Miss Darcy? Like, Miss
So
Darcy
I went to
was
the
his sister.
church
Oh,
to
I
report my
know.
findings, but
The
then
years later,
they performed a
16.
scrying ritual
Not
and
even
found
like
that there was still something lingering there.
She was 16.
She was what, 13, 14?
And
or
naturally,
something?
you went off into the sewers to fight it by yourself.
Did he actually run away with her?
Well,
He tried.
It wasn't even a
They, like,
fight. It was simply
ran
something
away,
to
but then Mr.
retrieve
Darcy, like,
so that it could be
caught up with them.
neutralized.
Right. Noctis, how many bodies did we find in that fight?
Well, he tricks Elizabeth.
Quite a lot, actually.
'Cause,
It was
within
like
their
20.
first
Might I
fight,
remind you, I don't remember anything from the moment I entered the
so
sewer.
nice, and he has every right to hate Mr. Darcy.
Everything,
And it's like he was
I remember
supposed
going to the
inherit
sewer, entering,
the
and
late
then
Mr. Darcy's estate. But it's like no,
it's
just
nothing.
your godfather.
And then I woke
here's
up
my
in the
estate,
church
doesn't mean
again.
You're gonna inherit his estate.
Right.
And then he was like, Mr. Darcy stole it from me, and it's like
They didn't greater restoration you?
She calms herself. For the time being, I think I am fine for now. But I'm uncertain what occurred beyond the fact that something happened, obviously.
Why does everybody get all like quiet? Oh, are they like the owners
What
of the
happened
big
for
manor
you?
house and-
no.
Somebody
Darcy and this.
conjured a freaking
but
member of the
it's
Fae
like his
court into that
estate and-
sewer.
Because you remember how Downton Abbey, it was like Downton Abbey and then the village,
Yeah.
right? Is it the
Well,
Bingley
that
estate?
would
and then
explain
they're
the blanked
village for
memories.
Yeah,
I think it's
apparently,
more that like
quote of said Fae, you gave them puppy
it's
dog
not
eyes
necessarily
and they
like
decided
they're
to
the
save you.
estate and then everyone else is the village. It's just that in terms of a village, they're very small,
I-
very close, and so at this point,
Obviously, I don't
everyone
remember
in
it.
that room, they all have
Also, I know teleportation magic is really weird and whatnot, but I'm pretty sure there shouldn't have been able to have an actual hole to the Feywild exist.
They're more common than you think.
None of them have titles.
Though typically they occur at points of interdimensional connection, solstices, equinoxes, things like that.
Are we anywhere near any of those dates?
Oh no. We aren't at all. Which makes the appearance of a spatial rift like that all the more interesting. So,
See, everyone was like, hold on, let's get a look. Okay. And they also stopped probably.
beyond that,
Social convention.
anything else I should know of?
A lot of dead bodies and a hole leading out of the sewers. That's it.
Oh. Now that is interesting to know. And that is, yes, very good to know.
Mary.
Well, anything you can tell me about this Fey creature?
I got the voice in what she sounded like. Azrael has what her face looks like, and we're the only two that got our memories fixed.
I believe Thargriff did as well?
Yeah, but I'm playing
Yeah,
that she wouldn't
Thargriff.
tell us.
Okay. Toki, would you not tell them that your memories are back?
They didn't ask.
Canonically, this was all at the same time. When we were all in a same room. Oh, and apparently, I gestured to the group, oh her.
Hold on.
Alrighty.
What's that? I was like,
So,
and he was like, we'll go get you one. I'm like, no, you gotta find it.
from there,
So he again.
how do you
Couldn't find him. He figured it out.
how do you want to proceed? What else do you want to tell her
Took
about
his
her?
glasses off the other day to get the testosterone page.
Or what do you want to tell Alicia about this woman?
Oh, look, he's spitting.
Sorry if
Her face was so funny. She goes,
my bad. So let's see. Yeah, so you want to add anything else to what you're telling Alicia, or?
I told her that we owed her.
Oh, well, that can't be good.
No.
When the Fae claim a favor from you, there's typically more going on than you would think. Did she say anyone in particular, or in general?
She used the royal we. Yes, us.
Oh, well, she's been
And then
specific.
And then she marked me. And I showed her the symbol.
Oh, that's not good. That's not good.
Never is.
Well, I suppose we have a few days. Let's, shall we... I suppose, relax for those few days? before leaving?
I got a package coming in a couple days.
How long?
2 days ago they told me 5 days. I can check today to see
So
if
3
they can
days.
speed it up.
Alright, so at longest we'll leave in 3 days. Sound good? And she's talking to all of you. So Thargirth, Azrael, and Octavia. So Thargirth, Azrael, and Octavia. She's saying this to all three of you.
Yeah.
It's whatever.
Yeah, alright. Do you know where we're going next?
Oh, yes. I need to actually pull up my own notes. We are going to the city of Sindros. Apparently, it's the start. Nothing concrete yet, but we should find something there.
Did you say Syndros?
Number 4.
Sindros.
4.
Yes.
God damn, we were just there.
And we need to go back. Time is everything in this case.
What?
Apologies that we didn't catch it before, but
When he was,
apparently
when she and
it
Charlotte were, like,
wasn't there
underneath
before.
the, like,
It's
chairs,
odd.
was like, well, she's barely
I think we
And
can
so
all
then
agree that
Mr. Darcy
prophecies
said about
and
her.
visions
Yeah.
from other beings are not
He
exactly
was like, Jane is the most beautiful creature I've ever seen in my life, but her sister Elizabeth is
precise.
still very beautiful. And he was like, so then when she was talking
But
about like
for the most part,
poetry like kills
should
love
be
and
fine.
death, and Darcy was like,
Should be
I
fun.
love you both. It's the first thing that he said to anyone. Besides when she asked him about dancing, like that's the first thing that he's interjected into a conversation without being like prompted. And then she says all that, and he's like, "Well, then what do you suggest to like encourage love?" And she goes, "Dancing, even if one's partner is over."
Freaking backtracking. Halfway to home.
Well,
No one was
as
supposed
I
to do
said,
that but Bingley, because I
we
was
may not even
dying.
stop there. It could just be a
I
pit
wanna
stop.
watch that again, 'cause that's fun.
We stop for a day, solve the issue, and then leave for the next.
Okay.
As I said, it'll come in time. So, beyond that, how do you wish to do this?
Yeah, that's
How do you
right.
wish to proceed?
That's right. I
As
said it.
I am going to go and
She's like,
have a
"I'm
long
fine."
soak
She's
because
like,
I
"I'm
have
fine,
this
I'm
weird
fine,
itching
I'm
feeling
fine,
all
yeah."
over.
That'll be from the ivy.
I was covered in ivy?
Oh yeah, she wrapped you up in like this big cocoon.
And Alicia's just gonna give this like nervous sigh as she leaves. And Octavius, roll a wisdom save.
Oh no. $11.
You hear this odd voice in the back of your head. To be fair, I didn't know she was allergic to it, the poor dear.
Oh sweet mother of...
Don't
Oh.
react like that. You're going to give me a headache. And if I get a headache, well, again, roll a con save. You feel this pressure, like someone is gripping your brain and trying to squeeze, but you shrug it off. Well, I believe you get the point. Give me enough time, and well, you'll see the exact results of that.
You
Now
literally
calm down.
branded someone else in this party. Why are you talking in my head?
You're the fun one. And also, I like you. Now, be a good boy and go sit in the chair in the study. We have things to discuss.
Out of character. She freaking hated my guts when we first met. Was that just because she was pissed off?
It's the Fae. Honestly, what can you expect?
This has to do with my subclass, doesn't it?
Not entirely. Again, Fae. They're really sporadic. And also emotional. So, likely if she hated your guts, it was because of the situation. And she just wasn't very...
I get up from the table. If you'll excuse me, I'm going to read the next chapter in that series. Thank you. And I head off to the study. I'm pretty sure
Azrael?
Necro's the only one who knows what the fuck I'm talking about in character.
Yeah. Azrael?
And here I was gonna say poor bastard, but yes.
You're tattooed and claimed. I'm being whispered at. Which has it worse? Hi, Molly. Are you trying to talk?
Yeah. So, Molly, you also noticed that Octavius is acting weird. Well, no, you went to sleep. Never mind. She's trying to talk likely, but she's eating dinner. So,
Yeah, everyone can notice I'm off.
yeah. So, Jesus, you have a 9 charisma bonus.
Proficiency and expertise.
Yeah, still, Jesus.
Yeah, just wait till I get my charisma up.
Oh my.
I'm at a 3 right now. I go to the chair in the study, unless you wanted to end it there with that ominous foreshadowing.
Alrighty. So, do you go and sit in the chair?
Yes.
And do you get the book and like open it up?
Sure, why not? I'll keep for appearance's sake.
Good boy. You can actually follow orders. That's a rare quality amongst your kind.
How about fuck you?
Oh, she caught a cold? Yeah.
You speak to the ether and somehow she hears that.
I'll deal with that one later. For now,
Pick a new character.
here's the deal.
You act like I don't got like 30 characters in the wings waiting to take Thargar's position.
But this one's gonna die right now, though.
See, I am under no illusion that at your current state, you can offer me, well, quite literally nothing. Not even any property I could take from your body would actually be of interest to me. This isn't an insult to you, my dear, rather simply a statement. And if you're insulted by that, well, then that's just your problem. Regardless, I lost my point. Okay, so you owe me a favor. That much is true.
Makes sense if they would go
And
look at
I have no qualms
Sorry.
claiming said favor from you by force and through very, very messy means, if I am not satisfied by your services.
Well, it is a little bit
So-
of dramatic license.
Yeah.
How about a compromise? For now, I'll be content to sit and watch. I will be honest and say your squabbling and thrashing about in the mud does amuse me greatly, and as such, I will get some amount of pleasure from watching you. But know this: I reserve the right to claim anything of interest as payment, should you come across such things. Are we clear? And don't say it. Turn the page. Turn the page. Turn the right page. Turn the right page for yes. Turn the left page for no.
He turns the right page.
Good boy.
She must improve her mind
So,
by extensive-
now
She's
that
like,
that's
"I'm not
settled,
trying to attract you."
I'm not what?
I hope you have a
She,
lovely
immediately
rest.
just, closes her book when
And
he
as
was,
she
like,
leaves your
I'm like-
head,
he was like,
you feel this
"And such a
lingering
great-" and she just immediately, snaps her
brushing
clothes.
effect against your against the
not
sides of
really-
your skull. It's both insanely unsettling, yet at the same time almost soothing.
She's knocking me out.
No, it's just from there. There isn't much to say. From there, how do you want to proceed? You feel a certain amount of fatigue. There's a lot of fatigue going. From there, it's not much you really want to do. Just want to go and nap. But you can do other things if you want to. You just won't have much drive. It's odd. Moving on to Thargirth and Azrael, what do you two want to do?
What was that?
Moving on to you two, what do you guys want to do?
There's nothing particular to do for Thargoth besides go to sleep.
Alrighty. Azrael, what do you want to do?
So technically, I'm already finished with the blueprints, right? For the armor set.
Technically, now you're just waiting for supplies.
Look at the two of them circling.
Actually, I don't mind sparring with Muñeca again.
Oh, for heaven's sake, are we to receive everything in the country?
So, you just want to go to bed, or do you want to do some other studying at the moment? For the moment.
I said I was gonna spark one muñeca again.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I did not. I did not hear that. You cut out for that part. My bad. So you get Muñeca. You go up to her.
Right?
Do you want to spar again?
After her, or...
Yes.
Oh, she wants Darcy.
Yeah.
Do you want to start right
That's
now
why
or in an
she's
hour?
So mean to Elizabeth.
Yeah, but I thought Lady Catherine had decided that.
I get ready to duck, and I say it right now.
The sickly one.
Roll another deck save. No advantage.
Oh, that's not fair.
Muñeca's fast. Again, you dodge it. And it's as you guys move outside again. You know why I do that, correct?
Always expect the unexpected.
No, so one day you don't get punched in the face.
But that always happens.
Well then, we'll need to train you to be better.
Miss Bingley is
Very well.
that much. Because it's very obvious that she's just like a gold digger.
Well, they all are. And they're forced to.
Also,
and
I'm
they're
back.
forced to be gold diggers.
Hey, Ellie. So, Ollie, how do you want to proceed? You have the rest of the day to yourself.
Is this the day after What's Her Face is back at our house?
Same day. You do wake up and it's like, oh. Well, now this is a thing. Unless
So
you
last
want to
night
just
was
sleep
the night where I just cast conjure.
You said
food
after
and-
you ate, you'd sleep.
Yeah.
So
this
unless
is
you
after I
want to
woke
say
up.
that, yeah, unless you want to say you're just gonna sleep till morning to try and sync up again.
Oh, is it the afternoon now?
Mom, you gotta look at this.
It would be morning when you wake.
not
It's
that.
currently
You gotta look at
evening.
Elizabeth's face when she
But
realized
you could wake
she's
up if you wanted to,
something right
unless you
And then
want
she's
to
like,
try to
"What
sync up
do?"
sleep again.
No, it's
I'm gonna go out with my cat and do some sparring, but only until like midnight, and then I'm gonna go back to sleep.
that's perfect direction.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
Great acting, like.
I've missed my cat since it wouldn't have been in the church with me, I assume.
Yeah.
She does want to play piano.
Also, Holly, as you wake up and go over to a mirror,
Oh,
you look in the mirror and notice right under your right eye, like just under your right eye, a little symbol has been carved.
What's the
No
symbol?
blood. It's a Sylvan one.
I don't speak Sylvan.
You don't?
I know Infernal and Primordial, but I don't think those are the same.
All right.
Do I know that anybody speaks Sylvan that I'm with?
Hmm?
Do I know about anybody that would speak Sylvan that is in our party? Because I don't think I would
You know of Octavius, but you know Octavius, he's into nerd shit.
Okay. I'm gonna go find Octavius
Nerd shit,
before
ancient
I
poems of
leave
a
the house.
long lost race.
Yeah, I heard it's just nerd shit.
Would I know that though?
I think you've seen him decipher it in the past.
Okay. I'm gonna go find him before I leave the house, but my big cat's with me.
That is that it's like Elizabeth and Mr.
All right.
Bennett are like sharing looks.
Cat's
'cause they're
coming with
both
you.
thinking the exact same thing.
And
This guy is weird.
I knock on his door.
So they're looking at each other.
as you open up, you see a raven perched on the windowsill, and the window's open.
I just knocked on the door. I didn't open it.
Oh, never mind then. Yeah, so you knock on it, and Octavius, you're out cold, so you wouldn't know that.
The question remains, are the ravens because of the Fae or not?
That is the eternal question, and it will be answered next time.
I'm gonna cast thaumaturgy and make my knocks super ridiculously loud, like a thunderclap almost.
All right, Octavius, roll a con save with disadvantage.
And it's not just one, it's like 3 knocks in a row.
One save. You don't wake up. But that is where we will call it for the night, people.
Okay.